Alright folks, let's talk hypertrophy. I've done a video on this before, but this is going to be a little bit more of a technical look at hypertrophy, how it occurs, muscle tears, healing, growth pathways, all those. Let's dive right into it. The basics state that hypertrophy occurs in two different ways, and hypertrophy just means making your muscles bigger. It's the opposite of hypotrophy, which means making it smaller. Hypertrophy is generally preferred. Especially if you're looking to get stronger, get bulkier, look better. Hypertrophy is the way to go. There are two kinds of hypertrophy. One is sarcoplasmic, and the other is myofibrillar. And to discuss those in more detail, let's actually look at what muscles are made of. Muscles are made up of a bunch of little muscle fibers. To take the biceps, for example, the biceps brachii, depending on your genetics, some other minor factors, you're going to have somewhere between 175,000 and about 415,000 muscle fibers just in your biceps. They're small, they're very narrow, they're long, thin lines, and you got a bunch of them. And depending on those factors, that's pretty much however many fibers you're going to have. I think it's, over time, there's about a 10% difference in the number of fibers between someone who's 20 and someone who's 80. So pretty much the quantity you got, unless there's damage, that's just the quantity you're going to have. It's often thought that the number of fibers are a potential indicator of your maximum potential strength, which may be true, but a more important factor is the components inside them. So it's not so much the quantity of fibers you have as the quality of their ingredients. Muscle fibers are full of myofibrils. And myofibrils, they're really neat. I love them. I'm going to do a separate video on how they function, but they are actually the thing that does the contracting and is what determines your actual strength. Myofibrils are the things that also can increase in quantity, size, and density, and are the determining factor for your actual strength. Not the number of muscle fibers, but the quality of the things inside the fibers, the myofibrils themselves. Now, the muscle fibers are also full of this fluid called sarcoplasm, and that is where the sarcoplasmic growth name comes from. If you just want your muscles to be bigger, not necessarily stronger, just bigger, you can work out in a way that increases the sarcoplasm and makes the fibers thicker and fuller and full of just a bunch of fluid, like a really nice water retention in a very aesthetic way. It's a very bodybuilder look, but it doesn't actually do anything to increase your strength. In the course of working out for sarcoplasmic growth, you probably will get somewhat stronger, but most importantly, you're just going to get bigger. You're going to look really nice, and then eventually, years down the road, you're just kind of pee all that fluid out. The sarcoplasmic growth is largely done through a high number of reps, short rest, just get the pump into those muscles, get fluid, get a lot of water, get a lot of nutrition in there. The myofibrillar growth, when you work out with high weight, low number of reps, large amount of rest, and you actually try to maximize the amount of effort put out by your muscles, it sends a signal telling the myofibrils to split, grow, thicken, increase in density, and do all those nice things that make each of the fibers themselves larger because the parts inside them increase in size and strength and quantity. Myofibrillar growth is the determining factor for your strength. More myofibrils, better quality myofibrils, denser myofibrils, that is what you derive strength from. You can have a good amount of sarcoplasm and good myofibril development, but it's the myofibrils that determine your actual strength. Sarcoplasm really can only help with size and definition. This does bring up an important point, though. The pathways that determine growth and repair are two different things. When you work out, there is always the potential that you're going to hurt yourself, and this could be large, serious damage. I've definitely had more than my fair share of it. It could be the microtears that you've probably heard about in various articles. Whatever it is, the steps your body takes to repair that damage is a separate process from the steps it takes to take these signals from the myofibrils and say, hey, y'all got to grow to do more work to get whatever it is you're doing done. Both can happen at the same time. So it's possible for three different things to happen from working out. One, you could just accumulate a lot of damage, but not signal the muscles to grow any stronger or denser or bigger. You could signal the muscles to grow stronger and denser and bigger and not accumulate really any damage. Or, as is more likely, you're going to accumulate some amount of damage, and you're also going to signal the muscles to grow and become better muscles, to do what they do much better. The aim should always be to do as little damage as is necessary, but you are going to do some damage. It's just part of the game. If you do manage to work out in a way where you do no damage, no fatigue, no chemical load, that's weird. It's possible, but it seems pretty unlikely. But really, at the end of the day, as long as you're working out in a way that drives you in the direction you want to go, whether it's size through pure sarcoplasmic growth or size is derived from increased myofibril count and greater strength, really you can aim for either one. But the important thing to remember is that damage that you cause is healed by a different pathway in the body than the growth that you are aiming for. Microtears are a myth as a growing factor. Muscles aren't like bone. They're not going to heal back stronger where they were damaged. The body's just going to try and fix whatever went wrong. So, whatever it is that you are doing in your workout, try not to hurt yourself, push yourself real hard, and I believe in you. An important note that I forgot to make for people that are older, which is the direction I'm going currently. The cool thing is the number of fibers that you have in your body doesn't really change. So the only thing that you need to do is to either work on the sarcoplasmic growth for definition or work on the myofibril growth for strength. But the potential's still there. If you have 200,000 fibers in your bicep when you're 20, you're probably still going to have just about 200,000 fibers in your bicep when you're 80. So make use of it. The pathways that allow you to become stronger are still there. They may not work as well, but don't let them go to waste.